share with you my process of how I approach a new perspective on colorways inspired by some of the sections in this book. Most of you know that I have written books. If you didn't know that, there's links down below. I have several topics: bats, roving, blend, card. Lots of people are curious on how I kind of think about constructing yarns the way that I do. In one of my Hanukkah videos, I believe it's day 4, lots of people enjoyed listening to my thought process on how I do that. So I thought I would bring you into that brain space and share a spin inspired by this book. In this book, she talks about different ways to combine colorways, specifically rovings. And it has been a while since I spun roving, and it has been a very long time since I spun a big project. So I am going to spin both of those things today. This is a Polworth merino silk, I believe, blend of fiber. Yes, it is a Polworth merino silk. I had to look at it for a second. I dyed this myself, and I really love the colors. This one came unraveled on my lap, is a merino tencel blend, also one that I have dyed. And this is that merino tencel blend undyed. So here are my 3 subjects. I am going to combine these together. You already got a closer look at these at the beginning, but I wanted to kind of introduce them to you again. So in the book, she talks about the difference between having 2 colorways spun single and then plied together versus drafting 2 colorways together. She did that with 2 separate colorways like this and with plain undyed fiber. And those were 2 separate perspectives in the book. But I felt like they were interconnected because it's the same technique, but you're just applying it to different colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin several different yarns. I'm going to spin a single of this, a single of this, and a single of this. And then I'm going to spin this a single and this a single, and then ply together. And then in a different yarn, I'm going to draft them together and ply them. Then I'm going to spin this a single and this a single and ply them together. And then in a separate yarn, I'm going to draft them together and ply that. And then I'm going to spin this a single and this a single and ply them together. And then in a separate yarn, I'm going to draft them together and ply that. So when I'm done, I'm going to have 9 yarns, and I am going to set them out for you to see. I am hoping to make something with this because this is 12 ounces of fiber in my lap right now. That is plenty to make a project. So I'm hoping to do something with this, and I'm gonna spin it fairly fine, so we'll see what happens. And one of the reasons I spin things fine, since we're going through a stream of consciousness thing here, is I like to get longer runs of color, but when I divide this, I'm going to actually divide it with the grain, so long ways, rather than across the grain. So that way I don't get a space of yarn that only covers this part of the colorway, I get the whole thing. And then because it's stripped and I spun it thin, I'm going to get decent chunks of color, but not huge pooling. You get what I'm saying? Because if I just spun it without stripping it with the grain, I'm going to get massive hunks of pooling, which I do not like. I don't like pooling. But I don't like confetti yarn either. I want a nice middle ground because balance is sexy. Extremism isn't sexy in any aspect of our lives. I am going to go ahead and prep these. As I said at the beginning of this video, this is part 1, so I'm only going to show you half of the yarns. Keep an eye out for part 2. strands, we have the drafted together with the greeny and the white, and the plied together with the greeny and the white, drafted together with the greeny and the bright one. I should have named these beforehand. And then the plied together. So clearly, my dividing was a little different. There's definitely more with the white than there is with the not white. Some things that I discovered from this is when, in the book Yarnitecture, which these projects are coming from, if you remember, she does recommend that you use really small strips of fiber to draft them together. Do not underestimate this. Like, pick small and then go one smaller. I started off with like a fourth of a width of roving. I ended up with like a 16th a width of roving. Another trick I learned is, instead of like spinning them this way so you only see the top, spin it this way so you can see the colors running. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to show you. Pick it so you can see the colors running side by side, and that helps you balance it out. Also, definitely pre-draft. I found it to be super difficult, this one, maintaining a consistent thickness, and I didn't. I mean, looking at this is kind of beginner work. I mean, it'll knit to a really interesting texture, but it's not what I was hoping for. With the undyed fiber versus the dyed fiber, the way it drafted was different. The dyed fiber had more of a grip, where the undyed just drafted like crazy butter, like melted butter. Like, it would have been beautiful on its own, but in combination with the slight tooth of the dyed, I had a really hard time controlling that. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. So keep that in mind. I personally think that the two plied together look better. My husband thinks that the two drafted together look better. So I am curious to know your opinion. Do you like the plied together, or do you like the drafted together? And do you have experience in this? And if you're following along with the book Yarnitecture and doing this technique for the love of all that is good, go ahead and let me know about it. If you're on Instagram, that's the best way to find me. I'm at Grace Shalom Hopkins, and you can tag me, direct message me, tag me in your Instagram story, whatever you want to do that, because I want to see and compare notes. Part 2 is coming up next, so stick around for that. If you liked this video, hit the like button. If you don't want to miss any other of my videos, or you're a longtime viewer and just haven't gotten around to it, hit the subscribe. In fact, YouTube makes it so they don't push notifications anymore unless you hit the bell. So you can turn the bell on so you get notifications from me, or you can turn the bell off and it won't blow up your phone. That's how I do it. I like to go searching for the people in my feed, get excited to see what's happening, so you can do that too. I can't wait to see you next time.